G'day, Sea Dog here. Welcome to my channel for high school drilling students.
Okay, so we're good to go now with our saddle stitching. We do a thing called back stitching. Okay, so when we start out, if I was to say find something to point with, if I'm going to start out with this hole here and work my way around back to there, I'm actually going to start here, put the needle through, but then I'm going to go back one stitch, and that's what's called back stitching, and then work my way around. It gives you a really strong start to your stitching process. So let's just show you that. So I've got my needle, one bit of thread, a needle at each end. I'm going to poke it through here. Okay, there he is, and push him through. Okay, now what I want to do is just make sure I've got an even amount of thread each side, which I have. You couldn't see it because it's quite long and therefore it's off the camera. Okay, so my next stitch now, I'm going to work this way around, but I'm going to do my back stitch. So I'm going to go through back to this second hole here. Not a bad idea to have it all here, and these are cheap as chips, or you can just make one up. And just going to go make sure it goes through. There he is. Because again, that needle can be quite hard to go through. So there he is, poke him through. Now, with saddle stitching, if I poke a needle through that hole that way, then I need to poke the other needle, which is the other end of the string, through that same hole and pull it out the other side. So now, having done that, I've got a needle each side and I've done my back stitch. So then what I've got to do is go back through my initial hole, the first hole, pull that through, oops, get things tangled up here, pull that through like that, and put the other needle again through the same hole like that, and pull him through. Okay, get it nice and tight. So I've now finished the back stitching process, and I'm good to go to just work my way around. So from here it's nice and easy. So we're going to poke our needle through there. The other needle has to go through the same hole. Always do the needles through the same hole. Through there. Pull him through. Okay, so now we've done 2 stitches. So with saddle stitching, you always have a continuous stitch all the way around. So with normal stitching, I don't know what you call it, but with sewing or that, you'd have a stitch here and then you wouldn't see the thread this side because it's the other side, and then you have a stitch that you see here and so on. But with saddle stitching, you see a stitch through every hole on both sides. Nice and strong, and it actually, I quite like the look of it. It's a nice, good looking stitch. So poke him through. Like that, nice and tight. Get the other needle, and always going through the exact same hole. Like that. Okay, that's one thing you've got to be careful of. It can get sort of hooked up on things. Beautiful. With some of my students, they've found it hard to pull the needle through the hole, so it doesn't hurt just to have a pair of pliers handy. You can use the pliers to pull the needle through. Okay, so now we've done 4 stitches, and it's starting to look good. It's actually a lot easier to do this form of stitching if we have this hole set up in a little mini vise. So I'm going to flick over to here just to show you this. I'm going to pop that in the mini vise like that, just finger tight like that. Okay, so my next stitch then, okay, is to go through here. Now we just need to explain what we're going to do here as we finished off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through here as normal. That's a bit hard, so just open it up. Okay, so through there as normal. And back as normal. But now I'm going to go through the next one, but up only through the middle, like that, and through that. Oh, got caught. Up through there, and then through there. Yep, through there, but up through the middle. And what that does, it enables us to tie off, so take the needles off, that enables us to tie this off in here, so it's unseen. It's a hidden knot in there, which is much more aesthetically pleasing, and it's actually stronger because it's protecting the zone of tie off. So I just did 3 little knots there like that. I'm going to open that a bit, get my little scalpel, go right in there and trim them off, undo him, and that's a nice evenly stitched leather form of joining leather. So that's saddle stitching, really strong. I think it's quite a nice looking stitch as well. Stitches each hole, and that's never going to come apart. Beautiful. A little bit here. If you want to, where that seam is, you can just give that a little bit of a tap with a hammer, and that will flatten it down. Beautiful. Okay, so that's saddle stitching. So 3 forms of joining leather here: rivet, press stud, and saddle stitching.